All right, so chapter 4 is entitled War of Cherokee Women by Theda Peru. This chapter, I'm starting to realize that a common theme among this book is gender, obviously, and you'd think it would be obvious, and it is, but it's something that they run with in like almost every chapter, and I find it interesting to examine, especially as different things come into play. So typically this is war in this chapter they're covering, and so this is talking a little bit about the 7 Years' War conflict. It devastated the Cherokee Nation, and relations with England kind of brought up Cherokee Nation's first ever feeling of like statehood or like allegiance towards centralizing Cherokee villages into their own little like miniature nation. Multiple villages would soon be considered together by the English, and it was really hard for them to kind of assimilate to this at first, but it became easier. But on hindsight of this, with all this war and destruction going on between Europeans, between natives and other natives, between the Cherokees and Europeans, war quickly kind of encompassed Cherokee life, whether they liked it or not. And this kind of threatened the role of gender and of the identity of the matriarchy. So the Cherokees were quickly becoming a war-dominated society. They were losing men in the process, but at the same time elevating their status, which I thought was very interesting to read. And the value that women had towards Europeans solely depended on their husbands. So they would be given gifts occasionally, but only if the Europeans recognized their husbands as warriors or somebody they would want to keep tabs on for later on. Gender became kind of an overarching thing over kinship, which was very interesting to point out in regarding with participation in politics. And this 18th century warfare just kind of led to the decline and demise of a lot of Cherokee communities. There's a probable cause of incredible declining populations. But basically, this chapter encompassed just war in general, and the men had to fight. You know, that was their only way they could achieve power. Women typically weren't allowed to unless of the occasion for a just cause for them to take up arms, like the war women we read about. So men kind of become on the center stage, and that is kind of contradictory to the matriarchy. So it's very interesting to see that shift start to happen. Something that I was thinking, a question I've had is, would this shift still happen the same way without European interference? Probably not. But what if what if there are no Europeans at all, and a bunch of other bands of indigenous people just started fighting way more, and that their society just evolved to like they always had to have warriors, kind of like what was going on with the Europeans? I wonder if that shift would have naturally happened if it just concerned only different indigenous groups. So yeah. All right. Thank you.